This is the ROG Ally, the handheld gaming console, which is a complete game changer, setting a new bar for gaming on the go. It features a full-blown Windows 11 operating system, powerful enough to allow you to install and play games locally or stream them, as well as using emulators, with the added benefit of allowing you to connect it to your TV as a gaming console, and you can even connect it to your sim racing rig and use it instead of having a separate PC or console. Details are in the description below, including purchasing links. So let's jump right in and take a look at what you get inside the box. But before I begin, if you're new to the channel, hope you can support me by subscribing and hitting the bell icon to get notified of my next release. In the box, you get the ROG Ally handheld gaming console, some documentation, a 65-watt power adapter which has a USB-C connector, and you get a power cable with a cloverleaf connector. Taking a closer look at the handheld console, I've put the dimensions on the screen. It weighs 608 grams, but it doesn't feel too heavy and feels well balanced in your hands. The case is all white, with controls very similar in layout to an Xbox controller. You've got ROG written on the right and on the bottom of the display, and a couple of logos on each side of the grip area. On the left, you have your left thumbstick and D-pad, with a view and command center button. On the right, you have the A, B, X and Y buttons, which have a glossy finish and feels nice to touch. Underneath, you have your right thumbstick with a menu and Armoury crate button. On either side of the top of the display, you have two array microphones, and at the bottom, there's two front-facing speakers at either side of the screen, which we'll test out later. Both thumbsticks feel nice, with a nice grippy feel to them, and they have LED lights underneath, which you can customize in settings to change from static, breathing, strobing, color cycle, rainbow, and aurora sync, as well as just turning them off. On the top, you have the triggers and bumpers, which don't feel that bad, and you also have a power button, which doubles up as a fingerprint reader. There's a power indicator, a 2-color battery change indicator light, volume buttons to control the sound, an ROG XG mobile interface, a USB Type-C port, which also supports DisplayPort 1.4, a micro SD card slot, a 3.5mm headphone jack, and underneath you have some vents. On the back you have some more vents, with one in the shape of the ROG logo. There's a holographic strip that changes color in the light, and also 2 paddle buttons or micro keys, which you can also remap for secondary action in-game or use for shortcuts. It features a 7-inch glossy LCD touchscreen display made from Gorilla Glass with a DXC coating reducing reflections. It has slightly smaller bezels on the sides and larger ones on the top and bottom. But overall, clarity and sharpness of the screen is really very good, although viewing angles from the sides aren't as great, but not a big deal as you'll be playing front on. The 1080p display has a 16:9 aspect ratio with a PPI of 210 and brightness is 500 nits. So playing indoors is not a problem, even on a bright day, and picture quality is really very good on a small screen with no anti-aliasing on text, with good color depth, as it also supports a wide color gamut of sRGB 100%, providing vibrant colors. There's no stuttering or screen tearing, as it supports AMD FreeSync Premium, and it supports a refresh rate of up to 120 Hz with a 7 millisecond response time. Near the screen you have some small buttons which provide different functionality. On the left you have your view button, which changes the layout, and the button below opens the command center, which gives you quick access to game profiles, operating mode, your refresh rate, adjusting brightness levels, and more. In the operating mode you have 3 different modes to choose from to change the performance and wattage. You have silent mode, which gives 12 watts of output. Performance mode gives you 20 watts of output, and turbo mode gives you 30 watts of output. On the right you have your menu button and the Armoury crate button, where you can update your firmware, get software updates, plus it's also a central game launcher for Epic, Steam, Xbox Game Pass, PS Remote Play and PlayStation Plus. So games that you've downloaded or apps like Game Pass and PS Remote can all be found here, and pressing the button will bring up your games library. It also launches by default when you start up the device, plus you have your customization settings so you can remap your buttons and map your rear paddles to be used in-game or as modifiers for more options, such as showing a virtual keyboard or showing the desktop. Spec wise, there's two versions of the ROG Ally. I have the more powerful version here, which features an AMD Ryzen Z1 Extreme processor that has 8 cores and 16 threads, with an AMD RDNA 3 GPU capable of giving as much as 8.6 teraflops of performance. There's 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of M.2 SSD storage. It has 6-axis gyroscope to detect and respond to motion and rotation, with it supporting Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.2. Plus you have the ability of connecting up an external graphics card to boost it with an RTX 4090 GPU using the ROG XG Mobile. On to testing out some gaming, and seriously, gaming on this is fast and very smooth. It runs the full version of Windows 11 with enough power to install and play games locally. So for instance, I've installed GTA 5 and Forza Horizon 5 locally on here, giving me the advantage of playing games offline, which means I'm not streaming or having to rely on an internet connection, allowing me to play offline. So you're able to install directly from Steam and Epic, as it's essentially just a PC. Gaming on here is insane with the amount of power it has. It also has haptic feedback, which gives a subtle amount of feedback when gaming, and even with the 7-inch display, the games on it look really good. The grips on the back feel nice and grippy with the ROG micro triangle texture. The ergonomic design is really comfortable when gaming, with the curved handles molding naturally in my hand, with the controls being in easy reach. Now playing Fortnite, I'm playing this at 1080p and I'm getting around 120 Hz refresh rate, which is the max in turbo mode, and gaming on this is responsive and works well. Now I've had this for a week now, and even after playing on it for a couple of hours with a number of different games, the handheld doesn't feel hot or get warm around the controls or the grips, as the fans do a pretty good job of keeping those areas cool, ensuring your hands don't get sweaty when gaming. But I did notice the top of it does feel hot as it's pushing out air, with the screen feeling very hot to touch. With the operating system being Windows 11, you can easily install anything that you would on a normal PC. So you can even make use of the Xbox Game Pass, allowing you to install and play games locally or stream with cloud gaming. Even remote play works with the Xbox and PlayStation, and this is where you leave your console on and remotely access it to game on. And this generally works well, but I found using it with a PlayStation, you'd have to connect the controller via a cable, as the controls on the device didn't work. You can also play cloud-based games via PlayStation Plus app, so you can use the ROG Ally and stream directly without the need of having your PlayStation on. And if you had any emulators working on Windows, that should also work. Now what's pretty slick is that you can even connect it to your TV and pair it up with a controller over Bluetooth and use it like a normal gaming console, with it even supporting ultra-wide monitors, which is a big bonus. ASUS told us that it can work on monitors with a resolution of 3440 by 1440, but I thought I'd try connecting it to my LG ultrawide, which has a resolution of 5120 by 1440p, and that for some reason didn't work. So something to keep in mind if you're planning to use it with a monitor of this size. Now if you're wondering if you could use it for sim racing and have it connected to a monitor and to a racing wheel, allowing you to use it instead of a console or gaming PC, well, this is possible, and you'll have to buy the ROG gaming charger dock. Generally the experience was okay, nothing amazing, and sim racing worked well, but at 4K 60Hz it didn't feel that smooth playing Assetto Corsa, and as you can see there was some lag on the screen when turning the wheel. Performance did improve when I lowered the resolution, but generally it wasn't that bad. And as it's a Windows PC, you can also connect it to a monitor with a keyboard and mouse to use it as a workstation, making it a great all-rounder. But remember, you're not going to get the performance a high-end gaming PC would give you, but like I mentioned, you could boost it with an external GPU. On the screen, I've provided some example games and the FPS you can get from them to give you an idea of the performance to expect from the ROG Ally. The ROG Ally has two front-firing smart amp speakers which support Dolby Atmos to give distortion-free sound, together with AI noise cancellation, which processes both incoming and outgoing audio, helping to filter out any background noises. And for such a small device, I'm pretty impressed with the sound quality, as you do get some depth in the sound, and they easily cover up the sound of the fan, even when running in performance or turbo mode. Have a listen to this to hear for yourself. The ROG Ally has a 40 watt hour lithium ion battery, and it comes with a 65 watt power adapter. that can charge the device in 30 minutes from 0 to 50%, which is pretty impressive. Now, battery life is a tricky one on this. As I say, it could last up to 8 hours, but this really depends which games you're playing and the performance mode you're using. So depending on this, you can expect to get around 90 minutes to 3 hours, which is okay, but not so great if you're traveling for long periods without a charge. So in summary, the ROG Ally is definitely the handheld console we've all been waiting for, which blows away the competition. It's an awesome device running a full Windows 11 operating system, allowing you to install any Windows games and applications. The 7-inch touchscreen display works well, providing great picture quality, and the sound quality is pretty good considering how small the speakers are. The device is powerful enough to play the majority of games out there, running locally or streaming, and you could say it's a multifunctional device, allowing you to play on the go or use it as a console with it connected to your TV or even connected to your sim rig for a full-on racing experience. And as it runs Windows, you could just plug it into your monitor, connect up a keyboard and mouse to use it as a workstation. Negatives wise, battery life isn't great, especially if you want to play AAA games at the full performance level, and it isn't cheap with the Z1 Extreme coming in at just under £700 or $700. As for that price, you could pick up a PS5 or Xbox Series X and still have money left over, or even build yourself a decent gaming PC. But obviously none of these other options give the flexibility for gaming on the go like the ROG Ally does. So there you have it. You come to the end of another video, and I hope it's helped anyone thinking of purchasing this. Details are in the description below, including purchasing links. And for those of you who've got to the end of the video, please leave a comment with the words ROG Ally, as it's nice to see who got to the end of my video, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook and Twitter. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to be notified of my next release. Thanks for viewing, and see you in the next one.